Hello and welcome to another Tuesday Tidbit. Today's Tuesday Tidbit is what are seller concessions and how can they be used? So, seller concessions are a credit from the seller towards a buyer's typically closing costs and prepaid expenses. How much can you receive in seller concessions is entirely part of the negotiation process, both up front as well as during the process. I'll talk about that in just 1 second here. And they are going to be limited. They're typically going to be limited to the lesser of the seller concession limits known as an interested party contribution, so IPC limit, or the sum of your closing costs and prepaid expenses. So what's the IPC limit? What's the seller concessions limit? It really depends on a lot. It depends on your loan to value, depends on the type of transaction, depends on the type of loan. So certainly talk to your lender before you start to negotiate seller concessions willy-nilly, because there likely are going to be some limitations in place as to how much you can possibly receive. And you can only receive a credit for up to the sum of the closing costs and prepaids. If your closing costs and prepaids are $5,000, you do not want to get a $10,000 seller concession because you have way more credit than you do closing costs and prepaids. And in that situation, the seller is basically paying you to buy the house, and the government does not allow that. So concessions can typically be used for closing costs, prepaid expenses, prepaid HOA dues, for instance, as well, but they can't really be used above and beyond that. So usually when there's a tough negotiation going on with regards to inspection items and it looks like there's going to be seller concessions coming down the pike, typically the real estate agent will contact the lender to make sure that we're not getting too much credit and not having enough cost for that credit to be used up. And second thing I kind of want to circle back on real fast, one of the most common situations where we see seller concessions used is with regards to inspection items. You do your inspection, you have a laundry list of things you want replaced or repaired. Well, yeah, the seller could take care of that, or they could take the, lack of a better term, easy way out and just give you a seller credit towards reducing your cash to closing so you have money in your pocket so that you can do those improvements on your own time frame and at your own cost. But by giving you a seller concessions, they're basically paying for it in advance, if you like to think about it that way. Hope that helps some. I'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.